Welcome back. Hope you're having a good morning. Well, for starters, the SGX Nifty is suggesting a more or less flattish start. Well, the Asian markets, they were more or less mixed the last time we checked. So let's get some of them up for you on the screen. The Hang Seng as well as the Taiwanese index, well, they're holding now in the green with a gain of around 0.2%. And let's pull up the other couple of markets as well. There was some red on the screen earlier today, but let's see whether or not, a couple of them have turned it on. But guys, before we get to the top 10 list of stocks, feeling good this Wednesday. Guess why? It's that time of the week and that time of the month.
The salary.
Lovely. And midweek through, so we're half.
Has he cracked this joke before? Yes, on a many times.
It depends on whether you're spending the salary, right? I don't think you guys are spending it, so I'm looking forward to it. But anyways.
Well, it's Christmas, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's the time to be
It's the last one before Christmas. You need to be careful.
Exactly. Save up for that, right? Make sure you've got enough till the 25th. Now we've got a top 10.
Well, let's get straight then to the stocks that we are going to be looking at. Rima, well, you go first. You're tracking the aviation space.
Well, finally, the Air India-Vistara merger has been announced. This is something that the street was watching. In fact, there was a press release as well on the 13th of October where the two companies indicated that they are in dialogue. So this doesn't come as a surprise, but it's a big deal. It's a big merger in the aviation space. And the question is, will it challenge the current leader, Indigo? Let's take stock of the market share now. Air India-Vistara combined will have close to a 24% market share in the domestic market. This is significantly lower than Indigo or Interglobe Aviation's market share of 56.7%. So it's less than half of that. But if you see that Indigo's on-time performance has actually been declining. So earlier, many years back, Indigo used to always top the OTP, on-time performance. But in the month of October, which is the latest data that we have from DGCA, Indigo was fourth. In fact, for the last 7 months, Interglobe's on-time performance has been trailing its rivals, right? So now when you have a merged entity, which emerges a lot stronger, Singapore Airlines will be investing close to about 2,000 crore into the merged entity. So this becomes a far more formidable force. And on the other hand, Interglobe Aviation is facing issues on its on-time challenge. So are we going to see a shift in market share? So watch out for Interglobe Aviation as well as SpiceJet, which of course is a much smaller player. So can the merged entity perhaps eat into the market share of Interglobe Aviation and SpiceJet? There is some time. The merger is going to take effect only in March of 2024. So we've still got close to about a year and a half left. But interesting times, a big merger in the aviation space. And
much awaited, right? I mean,
yes.
People have been wondering when all of these different, airlines are going to come together because, there are many which are operated differently, separately right now. So we'll see. Zomato is the other one which should be in focus. There is another block. Nimesh is here to tell us about that. Nimesh, hi, morning.
Hi, morning, Prashant. So as you rightly pointed out, another large block in Zomato. So Alibaba is looking to sell 3% stake via block deal today. Remember, they own 13%. So even after 3% stake sale, they'll be held with 10% stake. The good part is that there is a lockup of 120 days now. So the further selling from Alibaba cannot happen for the next 4 months. The initial feedback is that demand is strong. The execution of the block will be important to see, but it looks like after an initial red, you might see the stock recovering if there are strong hands buying into it. So Zomato will be in focus on the back of Alibaba selling 3% via block deal today.
Okay. All right, Nimesh. Thanks so much for that. Well, Ekta joins in to tell us about a few stocks that are in the news from the pharma space. Ekta?
Thanks for that. Well, I'm going to start with Gland Pharma, which is in focus because they did announce an acquisition last evening post-markets. They've entered into a put option agreement to acquire 100% of a French-based company for $120 million. Now, the maximum consideration payable is around 210 million euros, rather, if you add in the addition of debt. But it's a lower margin company. Gland is always known for higher margins. That could weigh, but the momentum could probably continue on hopes that there could be a stake sale in Gland Pharma. So I would really be mixed about what we could expect in Gland today. We did speak to the management yesterday, last evening, and they've said that there is no communication from the parent company on a possible stake sale, but that will continue to be monitored as a news piece. Biocon, they've completed the acquisition of the biosimilar business of Viatris. Biocon's stake in Biocon Biologics will now be 68%. Rajiv Malik, who is the president of Viatris, will now join the board of Biocon Biologics. So a lot of developments, momentous day for them in terms of closing the acquisition. Zydus Life, management meet takeaways, focusing on building a specialty pharma business. Medium-term strategy for India is to maintain double-digit growth. Lastly, Lupin, we've managed to access the 16 observations totally issued to the Mandideep facility. Not looking good in terms of, it looks like a long road ahead for them in terms of remediation. They already have a warning letter which was issued to them in 2019 for this particular plant. So don't expect any respite possibly for this facility as per what experts are saying at this point in time, based on the 16 observations which have been flashing on your screen.
All right, Tekta, thanks very much for that. Lots of pharma news with the news flow. But more stocks in focus. Vivek is standing by with that list. Vivek, hi, morning.
Well, good morning. First on our list is the entire Inox GFL group. So 3 stocks, Gujarat Fluorochem, Inox Wind, as well as the recently listed Inox Green Energy. Remember, Inox Green Energy raised almost 740 crore via the IPO. Both, some part of it, half of it went to Inox Wind and the other half went to the company itself. And along expected lines, the company has started deleveraging its balance sheet. So Inox Green has paid almost 250 crore in towards reducing its debt, and Inox Wind has paid an aggregate of over 160 crore. The other stock on the radar is GR Infra. Some negative news flow coming in. One of important contract for the company worth almost 592 crore. Now, this contract will pertain to a contract that the company received from the National Capital Region Transport Corporation, and this was regarding the Rajiv Chowk project. So the annulment or the cancellation of this particular project is something that may impact the stock negatively in today's trading session.
Okay, all right, Vivek, thanks so much for that, and thank our entire team for joining in and giving us all the top 10 stocks. Well, here's a quick recap of all the stocks we just covered. Stocks with positive news flow include Zomato, Gland Pharma, Biocon, Zydus Life Sciences, Gujarat Fluoro, Inox Wind, and Inox Green. While stocks with negative news flow, well, they include Interglobe Aviation, Lupin, and GR Infraprojects.